Who was he really working for, and why won't the media tell us the truth? Ladies and gentlemen, this could be the video that does it. This could be the video that finally destroys my channel and demonetizes me forever. It's a risk telling the truth nowadays, apparently. And I'm not saying anything new. Everyone who knows this. Anyone who's read the files extensively has known this, okay? Jeffrey Epstein had a boss. Maybe he had a few bosses, but they all belong to the same category of opponent. Whenever you Google, who did Jeffrey Epstein work for, you have a lot of articles and different links saying stuff like this, like, did he work for Russia? Jeffrey Epstein maybe was a Russian spy. Guys, I do not mean to sound like I'm a defender of Russia or Vladimir Putin, but he did not work for Russia. If he worked for any country, it wasn't Russia. You just got to think about who you're not allowed to talk about, and that'll give you your answer. Before we get right into it, some housekeeping. So, as a result of the Iran attacks, which did what they were supposed to do, because people just stopped talking about Epstein as much as they were a couple weeks ago. And while they were doing that, the DOJ was quietly removing a lot of files. A lot of files got deleted within a couple days. I'm talking hard drives, jail pics, all that stuff is gone. And you could see it in the DOJ's current library of Epstein files. You have a bunch of representatives of the White House, like Comer, grandstanding, saying, oh, we're going to call all these guys to testify. Everyone except for Trump. There were times where this guy was looking back at the good old times he was having with Epstein. This guy's pervertedly smiling at some of the pictures with him and Epstein. You can see it. There's a point where he even grabs the picture back from the lawyer next to him and he's like, yeah. Hey, bro, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. It's demented, but it's hilarious. Clinton says Trump told him of some great times with Epstein, and he didn't get into specifics, but this does counter the claims that some of the Republican representatives of Trump were saying Clinton exonerated Trump. He didn't. He didn't. He really did not. In fact, it leaves a lot more questions than answers about Trump's relationship with Epstein. Basically, Epstein predicting the Iran attacks. He's like, bro, if Trump feels cornered like a rat, and because he's a bit of a psycho, he's gonna attack Iran. He's gonna do a lot of crazy shit. And we know Trump was cornered because according to multiple sources, one was an ex-CIA official saying Israel threatened to nuke Iran if Trump didn't attack, or Epstein files were going to be released on Trump, or he wanted to take the pressure off his administration as a result of the botched Epstein files release by doing this as a distraction. There's more emails. Bibi, Jared, Donald all need a win. He's talking to Steve Bannon, which I think CIA. I think he's CIA. Bibi, Netanyahu, Jared, I'm assuming Kushner, and Donald Trump all need a win. Don't know what they're referring to, don't know the context, but there are talks about this administration in 2018 when Trump was in office. It's just a bit weird. But the weirdest thing, and this is very, very interesting, guys. So when there's a whole volume audit on all the Epstein files that have been released, there's a huge gap in time when it comes to missing files. And it happens to be in this 2001 spot where certain key events happened, like Bill Clinton's Monica Lewinsky scandal, a certain terrorist attack that took place. And people are saying, why are there so many files missing from this key time in American history? Maybe it has something to do with the fact that there are also very sus emails referencing some tragedies in this time frame. Ghislaine Maxwell being invited to the Shadow Commission, or emails between her and multiple people saying, where is the other pilot? If you know, you know. I've referenced this in one of my videos prior. I'm not trying to get demonetized because YouTube is very stingy about talking about this stuff, okay? Now, let's get into the crux of the matter. Did he work for Russia? The answer is hell no. Did he collude with Russia at times and help get stuff on Trump? Did he reference different Russian leaders? Did he reference also the need to get rid of Putin and have him replaced? Yes. Doesn't mean he was working with Russia specifically. He's also referenced the need to remove Imran Khan from power, right? So, as an agent, you could have connections with a lot of different countries and governments. I don't know if it was right-wingers versus left-wingers, but there was people trying to make this political, also religious, saying, oh, he's a Muslim. Muslims need to be removed. More evidence that Muslims need to be removed. There was also fights saying, oh no, he was a Christian. Christians and Muslims are literally battling about this, as if it matters. Oh, look at that temple on his island. It looks like the Kaaba. He must have been a Muslim. Oh, he's quoting Bible verses. Oh, he must be a Christian. You guys know, like, and I know my viewers are smart enough to know this. I hope so anyways. He bastardized both these religions. He was asked to help suppress the rise of conservative Islam in Turkey, and he literally quoted the Bible verses as a means of enacting violence. He literally referenced potentially dressing up as Christ and doing things to girls. he's bastardized both these religions many times. And we know what religion he belonged to, right? What are we doing here? It's very obvious who he's working for if you're not being intentionally obtuse, like a lot of people in the media are. All you need to do is look at the shirt he's wearing. But okay. There's a lot of people who wear IDF shirts and don't support the cause anymore. I understand. He has frequent emails with people within the Rothschilds family. Now, why is this so important? Well, he was paid a huge amount of money and was in constant business with them. You, on behalf of Southern Trust Company, have been collaborating with Ariane de Rothschild on behalf of Edmund de Rothschild regarding risk analysis, all right? So he was paid an exorbitant amount of money, $25 million, for some risk analysis stuff, okay? In Les Wexner's deposition, the person who basically gave Epstein a lot of his financial power, here's some interesting stuff. Wexner testified that he verified Epstein's credentials by speaking directly to Ellie de Rothschild, who confirmed that Epstein did work for the family. The connection to the Rothschilds family prompted him to give Epstein power of attorney over his personal finances. So that was the huge indicator for him. That, yeah, this guy can be trusted. Because the Rothschilds have referred me to him. Bill Clinton admitted under oath that he was closer to Ghislaine than Jeffrey. Probably all cap, by the way. But he was closer because she had a close relationship with the Rothschild family. She was very good friends with Evelyn Rothschild and his family Lynn, whom I knew and was in regular touch with. And Clinton's lawyer can be seen cringing when he says this, by the way. So clearly they don't want that name brought up. And we know Ghislaine, Maxwell, and Epstein, they're connected highly. And if one is connected to the Rothschilds and the other is, like, there's just a lot of connections to the Rothschild family. Epstein literally says to Peter Thiel, "As you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds." From the horse's mouth itself. He said it! He literally said it with his own words. Now, who are the Rothschilds? Well, this is like one of the biggest, most powerful old money families ever. They got a big banking empire. Alright? They have huge global interests that they're tied to. They helped found an entire country. We're going to talk about that. But that's what they are. The Rothschilds family has been a central pillar of the... I don't even want to say the word because I'm afraid YouTube will demonetize me. But a certain movement and the development of the state of Israel for 140 years. Their involvement spans from the late 19th century agricultural settlements to the funding of major modern national landmarks. Okay, so they're heavily invested in this country and the founding of it. Key figures. So there's all these contributions. They're huge benefactors within the family. They pledge support for this country. They helped found it pretty much. Many projects were funded in Israel. There have been multiple people like Lord Rothschild who have met with the current PM about certain funding to the country and the library. So this is a heavily tied family. One of the big things is I don't know if I'm spelling this right, Caesarea Development Corporation. The family, the Rothschilds, donated the lands of Caesarea to the state of Israel in the 1950s. And today, profits from the town's development are reinvested into Israeli higher education and philanthropy. Okay? So that goes to show you how deep the connections are here. But no, it was Vladimir Putin at Russia who hired Epstein. That was the country who did it. If any country did it, it was Russia. That's what most of Western media will have you believe. Is it becoming clear to you now how bought and paid for everyone is by... Anyways. So, could you say, okay, we're the Rothschilds, especially Lord Rothschild and the ones after him, Ellie, Ariana, whatever the hell their names are they his boss? Well, if they could be one of his employers. But who is his main guy? Who's the guy who set Epstein on his worldwide blackmail operation? I cannot use certain terms in here out of fear of demonetization, so I'm going to use the terms Kizriel and Kossad. Those will be the terms I'm using for the rest of this video. Epstein files described his training as a spy for Kossad at the direction of Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. Let's get into the details here. Alan Dershowitz, who's a very, very famous lawyer, he's defended a lot of problematic people. Alan Dershowitz influenced many students from wealthy families. Example, Josh and Jared Kushner is the advisor to Trump right now, were both of his students. Dershowitz told CHS that if he were young again, he would be holding a stun gun as a Kossad agent. Jeffrey Epstein was represented by Dershowitz. CHS remembered Dershowitz tell Alex Acosta that Epstein belonged to both U.S. and Allied intelligence services. CHS shared phone calls between Dershowitz and Epstein, during which he took notes. After these calls, Kossad would then call Dershowitz to debrief about what happened in these calls. Epstein was close to the former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak, and trained as a spy under him. Barak believed Netanyahu was a criminal. Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the United Emirates are allied against Qatar. Okay, so some could say, okay, well, Epstein was a co-opted Kossad agent. He was working for the opposition to Netanyahu, so he couldn't have possibly worked for Netanyahu. Well, I'm going to prove that wrong in a minute. But Alan Dershowitz is hugely mentioned in this specific file. Alan Dershowitz has played defense. He's currently part of Trump's legal counsel. He's defended Epstein. All right. He infamously said recently on Piers Morgan's show that he, first of all, denies that Epstein was Mossad. Of course, everyone does. And he said if he was Mossad, Alan would get him off for anything. If Epstein R-worded someone or did anything terrible, Alan could get him off. Piers Morgan is like, wait, what? You're admitting that if he was Mossad, you could get him off for anything? And Alan's like, yes, I could. Alan doesn't think before he speaks. But Alan did kind of get Epstein off, though. That's the funniest thing. Alan was a key member of Jeffrey Epstein's legal team who negotiated the 2008 non-prosecution agreement, the sweetheart deal, and it removed a lot of ties to Epstein in the form of co-conspirators. And now he represents legal counsel for Donald J. Trump. And people theorize that Dershowitz really wants to work for Trump so Trump can help alleviate him of any charges and wrongdoing connections to the Epstein files. Because, you know, Dershowitz was accused by Virginia Giuffre of wrongful acts. He was in the Epstein files many times. He was an eyewitness to the abuse of many underage girls, apparently. He denies it all. Interesting. I am going to do a whole video on Alan Dershowitz, by the way, because he needs to be exposed. He has been exposed by Norm Finkelstein, but I'm going to make a whole video about him. But this goes to show, okay, so is Trump being blackmailed by Epstein, who was a Mossad agent the entire time, under a specific country? Israel. Well, what's funny about this is, everybody under Trump's administration, including people who support him and are in communication with him, say stuff like this. They're adamantly supporting this country at the cost of their own. You have to wonder why. What could a specific country possibly have on you that you're willing to bend over backwards like a slave for them? Can we use our common sense here, please? It's not like this country, Israel, is a huge, massive country. No. But there needs to be something more than just a couple investments in it on a resource level and connections on a high level. No, there's something more here. A former Israeli intelligence officer, Ari Ben Menesh, who's probably going to die after he admitted this, said in this interview, the American government is indeed trapped by the Israelis. Jeffrey Epstein was one of their tools to trap him. So he is admitting that Jeffrey Epstein was a literal spy whose blackmail was put on Trump. He also said something very interesting, guys. All right, this blew my mind. But it's kind of obvious to anyone with a brain. He said that apparently Bill Clinton, I think this was mid-2000s or early 2000s, Bill Clinton met with Ehud Barak. This is before Netanyahu was in power, yeah? And they were going to have an agreement on a two-state agreement, a two-state deal between Israel and Palestine. Kisrael and Palestine, sorry. This would have been huge, right? Because there's like a massive conflict there, right? And Gaza barely exists now. It's been reduced to rubble. So this could have helped. But this peace agreement was apparently canceled. This two-state solution, because, according to this Israeli intelligence officer, I'm just quoting him, Epstein was used to blackmail both Clinton and Ehud Barak. How? Well, they were both in the Epstein files. They've both been diddying up people with Epstein. We know this. Ehud Barak visited Epstein many times. There's a bunch of surveillance on him too. He said that the right-wing party in Israel, I forgot what it's called, Liduk? You wonder who leads that party? Used the blackmail on both of them to cancel that agreement because they didn't want it to happen. Anyone with a brain knows that regardless of what happened on October 7th, was it? Netanyahu did not want a peace. He had been planning the takeover for a while, and this was like one of the big factors of why it never happened, because he used Epstein to stop it, according to the Israeli intelligence officer. So that brings us to our inevitable conclusion. After it's all said and done, who was really in control of Epstein? I'm not saying it is this man. And many articles from this country will say, he did not work for us. He did not work for us. He worked for Ehud Barak, so it's proof he didn't work for us, even though Ehud Barak was blackmailed via him. He is mentioned in the files. There's a picture with him and some associates with Epstein. There is a literal email where Epstein says the meeting with Netanyahu has been booked. These emails are being deleted. I can't find that file on Google anywhere now. If you look into the library, you could still pick it up, but they've deleted it. They're actively deleting all mentions of him. And you have to ask yourself, just logically, this guy has been the PM for 18 years on and off, right? This is his reign. 1996 to 1999, 3 years. 2009 to 2021, that was his longest serving tenure, yeah? You're telling me in that stretch, he knew nothing about Epstein? Unlike most Israeli government agencies, which fall under a specific ministry, the Mossad is a part of the Prime Minister's office, and its director reports directly to the PM. You're telling me that this guy didn't know anything about Epstein? His own intelligence officers disagree. We know he's using this man is blackmail. So, I'm not saying that he is the end-all, be-all, final boss of the game that is this whole war with the elites. But I am saying that he was definitely part of the employer group that had Epstein doing stuff. I believe Epstein was a double agent for Ehud Barak in the U.S. He was like an agent within an agent, because he was doing stuff on behalf of Ehud, and then he would blackmail Ehud on behalf of him and this party, right? Allegedly. Like, Epstein was doing all kinds of crazy stuff, man. It's insane. So that's my answer. I'm not giving a definitive answer because I want my channel to stay, and I'm not advocating for anything at all. I'm just stating what I believe to be true based on all the evidence. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to take over Hollywood. But the army must keep growing. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movies or favorite film theories in a community with like-minded individuals, join the Zafy Discord now. Link is in the description and the comment section as well. Join us. This movement is just beginning. We're taking over Hollywood, one coke line at a time.